Hello, fanbots, and welcome to a new segment we're going to call Creator Corner. We're here with our main boys, Hawk Guy, or Guy Hawk, or Hawk Guy.
Just Guy.
Nix. I'm Nix. And this is our first guest.
My name is Djeljosevic. I am a comic book writer.
And man extraordinaire.
I am extraordinarily a man.
Danny here works with me at Southern California Comics occasionally.
Yes.
Very
occasionally now.
Yeah. He's just a fantastic guy in general. But, lo and behold, I find out from this fine gentleman that he has been self-published. He actually has a couple of series going right now. And we'd like to, get through all of them, but B, just ask you about the experience in general. I mean, I think, prior to actually getting to your work, what got you into writing comics?
I've wanted to make comics since I was a small child, like single digits.
Oh, wow.
So,
long time.
I wanted to be an artist, but I couldn't draw very well. And it's like guitar, like you have to learn and practice. But I found out people write them. So that became more of my thing, and so in my teens I started writing it. And I just kept going, and eventually by the time I got to my 20s I realized I can just make these by myself. Like there's no one in the world to tell me not to.
Right.
I could just pay people to draw them and then put them out into the world.
Well, when did you get your first comic published?
First comic published, couple years ago.
Oh,
only a couple to a few years ago. Put a webcomic out online, which is in that pile actually.
Oh, which comic is it?
Yes, it is the Ghost Engine. Currently available as a webcomic, also available for sale on Comixology.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
It is a supernatural kind of mismatched buddy cop adventure thing.
Wow.
I would say it's like a Ghostbusters type stuff meets Dead Heat, if you've ever seen that movie.
Wow, that's
Unmitigated classic. Yeah, it's fun, it's got jokes, it's got people with ghosts living in their heads. It's like
Ooh.
The Frighteners. It's like 4-issue miniseries structure, but it is a complete story.
And you said you released it online first.
Yeah.
As a web series.
Yes, webcomic, a few pages a week.
Right on.
We compiled it into a trade paperback collection and put it up on Comixology.
By Comixology's Submit, whatever
yeah.
it is, yeah.
But you can find it on the main Comixology page. Same place where you get your Batmans.
Suppose you get your Batmans, but this is better. So was there like a revelatory title or a revelatory comic that you read when you were younger that drew you to comics, or was it just the format in general?
As a small child, I realized that the cartoons I like were also comics. It started with Ninja Turtles, because I'm of that age. I just walked up to my parents one day and I was like, Mom, Dad, I want to start reading comics. I didn't really start thinking about who made them until Grant Morrison's Justice League. That was the first time I understood that there was a person who makes this comic, and I should follow him to other things. Once he did New X-Men, I was like, it's over. This is
it.
I get it now.
You got the bug. What was the avenue that you went through for actually?
Well, for the Ghost Engine, we put it up on its own website.
Okay.
But a couple years ago, I decided to just have my own publishing label,
Which is
called Loser City, at loser-city.com. And that's how I put out all the print stuff.
You are self-published. You did print these.
Yes.
Yourself. How does one go about that? I mean, I imagine it must seem like a daunting task for a lot of people out there who, they think the normal channels are you get hired by a big company, they do the printing, blah, 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 blah. But it's really not all that uncommon these days to have people printing their own material. How do you start?
Well, you can start by going to Kinko's, or FedEx, or whatever it's called now. Go to
Kinko's.
Staples.
Wow.
It used to be called Kinko's.
Nondescript, non-suable printing name.
You can go to your local office supply store and get it printed out on crappy paper. But there are also a lot of printing companies that just focus on comics these days. Like the ones I go to, they're like one-stop shop for comic stuff. You can get your comics in various formats and sizes. You can get your banners for the conventions, stickers, posters, the whole shebang. All you need is enough technical know-how to put it together, money to pay the printer.
So what did you find was the most difficult part about self-publishing?
The most difficult part is, I guess, finding artists for one thing. Because it's kind of you have to search for people, and you have to have the right rate.
Right.
And yeah, that can be kind of tough. Then you have to wait for it to get drawn. And that you get really antsy doing that.
But so far, you seem to have found some pretty phenomenal artists to work with, especially Diana
Neneva.
Who you've done two with.
Yes,
correct?
two.
Big Fucking Hammer and Final Derby.
Yes.
Was it just like, once you found her, was just sort of like an instant connection. The two of you worked well together, I imagine, since you've got 2 series out with
Yeah,
her.
I really liked her style, and she's always down to work on stuff, so I use her for a lot of stuff.
Well, now that we've kind of talked a little about production, how about we talk about your actual comics, which
Let's
I think
do
people
it.
want to know about. So, we already heard about your first one, The Ghost Engine, and then Kids Rule was next?
Yes.
Yes.
I think. That's Kids Rule. It is an anthology.
Yeah. So tell us a little about it. Tell us about, the stories in it, the artists you work with.
3 different stories. One is called New Wave Cthulhu. It is about Cthulhu as a 1980s record producer. Hell yeah. The second one is called No City Above. It's a dystopian sci-fi thing.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward. And the last one's my favorite. It's called No New Movies, and it's basically a Drake fan comic. This is basically, I consider it like an EP in comics forms. Yeah, it's a really good way to show off your versatility. Like 3 different genres in there, different styles. Like it's a good way to impress somebody.
Yeah, it shows that you're not a one-trick pony.
It's fun too, just to sort of put something out there.
Yeah, exactly. A short story is really easy to do.
Right.
It's short. You can conceivably make it a reality, and then you'll have accomplished something really quickly.
We should embrace more single run issues or one shots like this, where it's just something fun instead of some super weighty 45 issue run.
Yeah, I love me some one shots. Like, did you guys read Rumble from Image?
I did.
Like, I read 1 issue and I thought it was cool, but after that I was like, I have to buy more of these. Why can't this just be like a 40-page one shot?
Yeah.
Be done.
So, what about your inspiration for the stories in Kids Rule? How did you come up with these things? Cthulhu as a record producer.
That's like possibly the greatest pitch I've ever heard.
I know, like, that's amazing.
So-
What even, how?
A couple of these were for anthologies, like anthologies with a bunch of different creators that had unifying themes. So after a while, when they weren't happening, I decided to just finish them myself and put them out. Because why should I have to wait for people when I have the money to just pay for printing?
For those of you who may be on the fence out there about self-publishing or something, like what would you tell someone who's thinking about it but hasn't really made up their mind yet?
Let's see. I mean, you have the power. Literally, you can do this by yourself. Like, I did this because I felt like it. I didn't ask anybody. All I did was, hey, I want to make a comic. Then I made several more. You were your own limiting factor.
Really quickly, before we get into Big Fucking Hammer, which I'd like to talk about in depth, Final Derby.
When I start flipping through it, first off, it feels very, I'm not going to say professional, but it feels very solid, very well put together, just in terms of the art and the setting and the theme.
It kind of reminded me of an animated short, to be honest, especially the way you lay out the panels, where we have the actual names of the characters. Oh yeah, like an introduction to a video game, or like I said, an introduction to an animated short. It has a very kinetic, like fast action-based style.
Yeah, I wanted to do a really manga style thing, since that should be pretty obvious since there's a bunch of Japanese stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to do like a really fast-paced comic based on 2 things I enjoy: roller derby and manga.
And I see the same sort of manga-esque appreciation.
Oh yeah.
Translates very, very well into Big Fucking Hammer. And I actually remember reading either your Facebook or the actual website for the comic that you took influences from some genres that normal comics wouldn't. You had a lot of influences. Can you tell us some of the influences?
Yeah, I got really into all the anime made by Trigger, Kill la Kill. What's the other one? Gurren Lagann, FLCL too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so a lot of that stuff is in there, and if you're into that stuff, you can totally tell what I'm ripping off.
I was going to say, yeah.
And like black and white, short chapters. I love the manga format.
Having a comic book that's obviously made by an American writer, following that same stereotype, seeing this like merging of the two fields, because I feel like a lot of people think manga and comics are different. Like they're so hell. It's like,
Which is the most whack opinion you could possibly
yeah,
have.
exactly. I feel about most of your stuff, it shows people that there's another way to do comics. Did you actively think about that? Were you like looking to like, I don't want to change the game per se, because that's a stupid phrase.
Oh, I'm a game changer.
But like, were you actively thinking, I want to do something different. I want to do something unique.
Oh, definitely. I wanted to do something kind of superhero-ish, because Big Fucking Hammer is kind of superhero-ish.
Yeah.
But I want to do it using influences that did not exist in the average superhero comics world.
Okay.
AKA, I didn't want to explicitly reference a lot of superhero comics. Even though I do it a couple times. Like, the first page mentions a guy called Rex Luthor, which is not a mistake.
I thought that was delightful.
Because he's also in...
Oh, that's a different name. Or that's a different character.
Oh.
That's funny, though.
Same name, different character.
Oh, man. What if oh man, we got a cinematic universe.
I was gonna say,
Connection. I like
we're
that.
building the universe. For a lot of people out there who are thematic comics or enjoying comics, they're enjoying it in the realm of, you know, the certain format that has been set forth by DC,
The
and
DC Marvel
and, you
standard.
know, like so many pages of high color production, etc., etc. Like just these simple black and white, story driven, you know, fun arcs that you can really kind of just casually enjoy.
It helps that I put it online for free, so you never really have to pay for this stuff. It's like I already accumulated myself.
But
Yeah,
should.
there you go.
You should. Yes, because I have a Patreon,
Yeah,
and the Patreon helps me pay for the comic. So
And it helps him make more delightful stuff like this. Your stuff is fun. Like,
and I love fun.
yeah,
Great band,
you are a
great
fun
thing to
guy. Before we sign off here, is there anything that you want people to look forward to of yours that's going to come out soon, or they should keep an eye on?
Let's see. I've got a horror one shot coming out sometime later this year.
All right.
Sort of it's like Swamp Thing meets Jennifer's Body. But in the meantime, bigfuckinghammer.com. It's out here. Got the Patreon. Give me money. Read my comic.
How do we join the cult of Danny?
All of my social media is the same. Djeljosevic. DJELJOSEVIC. That's my website.com. On the Twitter, on the Facebooks, on the Instagrams, Tumblr.
Right on. Thank you so much for joining us today, fanbots. Like the video, comment down below if you'd like to see more stuff from Daniel here,
Which better?
which you absolutely better. We'll leave links down below so that you can find all of his information, and hopefully we'll have some more segments with Danny in the future, seeing as he and I are now best friends.
And more creator corners too, because we have a lot of local talent here.
Matter of fact, we do have one planned pretty soon with an employee of Villainous Lair.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Either way, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, remember who you are and what you are.
And don't go causing any trouble out there in the big scary world.
What is this?
And
That's what I'm saying.
What is this?
Later, guys.
Bye.